What's happening, friends? Welcome back to Dynamo DeFi. My name is Patrick, and on this channel I talk about cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, and economics. So if you like those topics, be sure to like and subscribe. Today's video is all about Near Protocol. This has been easily one of the most requested videos that I've had on this channel recently. And so today I'll be talking all about Near, which is an innovative new layer 1 that allows for high scalability, as well as a high transactions per second and low fees, very low fees. And what really I think is interesting about Near is that they have built in a lot of features to their chain, to some of the applications they've built that make it both extremely appealing for developers to build on top of Near and also make it extremely user-friendly. So today I'll go through a bit about what makes Near unique and some of the initiatives they've rolled out. I'll show you their wallet, which is, as I said before, very, very user-friendly. I'll talk about a couple projects that are building on Near, Octopus Network, and Aurora. And then I'll go through some of the top ways that you can get involved in the DeFi and NFT ecosystem on Near. This is a beast of a project to cover. There's a lot to go through, so let's get into it. First things first, what exactly is Near? As I said before, Near is a layer 1 chain, and it has already implemented sharding, which basically means that the blockchain is split into different shards to allow for increased scalability. And with that, it can process currently over 3,000 transactions per second, although that will be scaling up to 100,000 transactions per second eventually. And the gas fees are still around 1 cent per transaction, so much lower than Ethereum, which would be sometimes $10, $20 or more for a transaction, and even lower than something like Avalanche, which might be up to $1 or more. So that's quite good by itself. But I think what really sets it apart is some of the initiatives they've done to attract developers to their ecosystem. So the first thing they've done is they've set up an $800 million ecosystem fund. So you have heard of Avalanche doing a fund, Phantom doing a fund. Near is, if not the largest, one of the largest. That's $800 million that they'll be using to incentivize projects to come into their ecosystem. That is a lot of money that can go a very far way. They also had a hackathon that just concluded last month in February 2022 called Meta Build, and almost 4,000 people participated in it. And in this gave cash prizes for building various applications on top of Near. So we'll see what comes out of that. But there have actually been some major projects in the crypto space that have come out of hackathons. So depending on how deep you want to dig, maybe you want to look through some of these projects and see if any of them might be worth keeping an eye on for the future. Some other things that make it appealing are, first, the smart contracts are in Rust, which is one of the most used languages in the world, but importantly, is also used for smart contracts on the Solana chain and also on Terra. So this means that developers that were building on Solana or Terra can easily deploy applications onto Near if they decide they want to test it out or maybe take advantage of that ecosystem fund we looked at a second ago. Another reason they might be interested in checking out Near is that Near fees have a very innovative feature built in where 70% of the fees are burned and 30% goes to whoever created the smart contract. So if you create a smart contract on Near, then the transaction fees spent on the smart contract in perpetuity will be paid out. 30% of the fees, at least, will be paid out to you. So that's pretty cool reason to incentivize people to build useful applications and then get as many users on them as possible. Hopefully it doesn't create an incentive for people to create needlessly complicated transactions to harvest those fees. But if so many people are using it that becomes a problem, that would be a great problem for Near to have. Some other things that they're doing, which I think are interesting, are there's a project called Octopus Network, which is building on top of Near, and this is an interoperability protocol similar to Polkadot, Kusama, but it is on top of Near. So basically, this allows developers to build a specific app chain. So sometimes for chains that are very transaction intensive, like for example, a game, Axie Infinity, for example, they might require their own chain for that game. Or maybe it's a DeFi application that's regulatory compliant, so they need to gate who can use the application, and to do that, they may want their own chain. Octopus Network lets them build that. However, it's significantly cheaper to set up an app chain on Octopus than on Polkadot. And even cheaper than Kusama. So this could bring a lot of new developers who want to build their own app chain over to Near protocol. Finally, and I'll be covering Aurora quite a bit today, but another interesting thing built on top of Near is Aurora, which is sort of like a chain built on top of Near. From a user perspective, it feels like a different chain, although it is still on Near, but it's EVM compatible. So that means that any applications that are built on Ethereum can be copy and pasted straight over to Near in the form of Aurora. And some of the projects I look at later in this video will definitely be on Aurora. And I'll also note that although Aurora may be more familiar to you, if you've used Ethereum, Avalanche, Phantom, and your MetaMask will be compatible with Aurora, I do think that Near's value and uniqueness really shines through if you use the Near chain itself and you use the Near wallet. And so with that, let's talk about some of the reasons why Near is so user-friendly, because I truly believe it is. So first thing that's interesting is they have over 100 guilds set up. And so this is an interesting way that they're trying to decentralize the community over time, even though right now it is controlled by a few number of people, but they have guilds that do everything from marketing to supporting each other as developers to creating NFT content, to pretty much anything you can imagine in the blockchain space. They have guilds, which are decentralized groups of people working towards that field on the Near protocol, and I think that's a cool way that you can get involved, and they have a very active community as a result. Additionally, their wallet is extremely user-friendly. This is just a demo one I set up. First thing that jumps out is that by default, these wallets in Near have a readable username. So for example, I created Dynamo DeFi.near. By the way, please don't send any funds to this. This is just a demo account. I had to send a couple dollars just to test it out, but Dynamo DeFi.near. And so you could set it up with your name, you could set it up with your username, nickname, whatever you want. And I thought that was pretty cool, because I think one of the barriers to adoption for normal wallets is just that it's an incomprehensible string of characters. This feels a bit more real. Some other things that were handy is that if you can easily top up the wallet, they have something called MoonPay built directly into it. So even when you first create it, you can send Near from an exchange like I did, or you can use MoonPay to top it up. They also have a bridge that I'll go over in a second, but you can top it up with MoonPay if you're interested. And just this whole user face is very, very friendly. And one other thing that's cool is that you can set this up with an email, actually. So unlike most wallets, you can set it up with an email. Normally I wouldn't do that, but like I said, this was a demo wallet, so I just used my Dynamo DeFi email. And overall, very, very sleek interface. Final thing there's a number of things that make it user-friendly, but one thing that I wanted to also call out was their Rainbow Bridge is a very, very smooth bridge. Ethereum, Aurora, and Near. So Aurora, again, is part of Near, but it functions sort of like a separate chain. And I would say this is one of the better bridges I've used. There's maybe only one or two that would compare, and you can easily send your funds over. One thing to note is that if you're bridging from Aurora back to Ethereum, there is a delay of a few hours. So it doesn't work both. It doesn't work as fast both directions. And I'm not sure exactly why that is, but that's just the way it is. Cool. So those are some of the unique things about Aurora and Near. If you are interested in Near, let's talk a bit about some of the opportunities for DeFi, because there are several of them. Now, first thing that is important to note is that for the purposes of DeFi, it almost is like two chains. You have Near, which has about $200 million in TVL. Then you have Aurora, which has $760 million in TVL. And Aurora, I think, got off to a jump start because it's easier for Ethereum developers to bring their Solidity apps over to Aurora. And MetaMask is more familiar to a lot of people, but Near has actually been gaining ground. So Near has surged from under 100 million to almost 200 million since last month. And there's honestly a lot of cool protocols being built on here as well. So I'll go through some projects on both of these. On Near itself, the largest DeFi projects, and one that encompasses a lot of different types of projects, is Ref Finance. So that's app.ref.finance. And if you look at the farms here, they have some very enticing ones. For example, they have Ref and Oct, or I think what's really interesting is staked Near and Oct. So this is a liquid staking version of Near, and then Oct is the token for that Octopus Network, which, as we recall, is basically a competitor to Polkadot built on top of Near, and you can actually earn 20% APR by pooling those two together. Also, Solana Near is interesting if you like Solana, 46%, or staked Near with Wrap Near for 8%. And then basically impermanent loss free Near. Who doesn't love that? They also have a stable swap on here, regular swap, and then you can stake their native Ref token. Although, as always, you should be very careful whenever participating in the pool too. That's when you hold on to the reward token for a protocol. That's Ref.Finance in a nutshell. Another cool project on Near itself is Metapool. Metapool is a liquid staking protocol for Near, and you can stake Near either on Near itself or on Aurora. And then they also have an Oct ST Near farm here for 30% APY. But it's very, very smooth protocol. I've heard great things about the team on this. And if you're holding Near, then this is a good way to convert it to staked Near and generate some yield on it. Now let's talk about a few protocols that are on Aurora itself. First, you have Trisolaris. Trisolaris is the major DEX. So if you're familiar with Aurora, a lot of this is going to be basic for you, but there is also good opportunities for yield on here. We can see again, staked Near and wrapped Near. You can get nice 17% yield. Luna and Near, you can get over 30% yield. And there's a number of other good opportunities as well. You can also get over 10% with stablecoins, which isn't bad. Another one you might look at is Bastion Finance. That is a lending protocol, and you can lend out Near, for example, and get 6%. I think there's probably better opportunities to get yield on Near, but maybe that appeals to some of you. USDC 2%. Yeah, the yields aren't great on here, but this is the largest protocol by TVL. Really, I need 15% to get out of bed on stables. And then another large DeFi project you might look at is Origami. And again, you can get some yields on stables, ETH, BTC, Near, if you're interested in lending it out. I tend to prefer liquidity personally. Cool. So that is DeFi on Near in a nutshell. And I know that there's a lot of small projects. This is just what you need to get started if you are just entering the Near ecosystem. But one thing I don't usually talk about on this channel that I thought I'd mention this time is NFTs. And that's because if you look on Twitter, you look online, the Near ecosystem is, I think, maybe even more built out for NFTs than DeFi. It's close, but there are a huge number of activity around Near NFTs. And so NFTs aren't really my thing, but if it's interesting to you, some websites you can check out are Mintbase. So this lets people easily mint and sell NFTs. You can even deploy your own store on here, and they have had some big people like deadmau5, the musician, for example, on here. And you can see it's only a cent to transfer your NFTs on here. Another big exchange is Paris.id. I can't find good stats on which one is actually larger between these two exchanges, which is why I included both. But I have noticed a number of projects launching on here, so definitely you want to check out this one as well. Another one website you might want to check out is nearnft.io. This has upcoming drops on Near, so if you want to catch these NFTs right as they drop, they've got a nice schedule on their homepage here. Shout out to them for creating this. By the way, I have no affiliation with any of these projects, as you could probably guess by the fact that I'm including 10 projects here, but I'll put that out there. And final thing I just thought would be cool in case anyone happens to be some sort of artist or musician or fan, there's this cool protocol called Satori on here that I came across, and this basically allows you to create NFTs and drop them to fans easily. So just a sign of the types of interesting user-focused and creator-focused projects that are being built on Near right now. All right, that was a lot, but that's nutshell what you need to know about Near. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Are there any other protocols on Near that you are bullish on? Again, I had a request to cover a lot of them, but I couldn't cover everything in just one video. And until next time, this is Dynamo DeFi.